Hi, it's Angie at No Shift Repeat, and today I want to talk to you about something a little bit different. It is and it isn't. I love to share clean living tips with you, and but really my whole mission is about knowing better and making shifts to do better. And this is something that I just feel like I really need to talk about. I had cystic acne for the last several years, and it was so frustrating. And I feel like if I can help just one person with this information, then I will. So I'm gonna share a little bit about my story of going through this, and maybe you'll pick up a way or a tip that can help you. So as a kid, I feel like I always had skin issues. I was in and out of the dermatologist all the time as a kid. And then that kind of continued through my teens, and I don't know, I feel like it probably leveled off some. But as I got to be an adult, probably in my later 20s, and when I turned 30, I was getting these huge, major cystic acne boils on my skin, and they were painful. I would wake up in the morning because my face hurt, and as soon as one would go away, I would get another one. Sometimes I would have two at a time, and I'm not talking about a cute, tiny little pimple that is gonna go away in a day. These are the hardcore, boils. I had one on my forehead once, and it literally took up a spot this big. It was up on my head, and there was almost a ring of bruise around it. It misshapes your face. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it was out of control. That's not the kind of acne I had when I was young. All of this didn't happen until I got to be older and had kids, and just the time in your life when you think that you should not be dealing with this. So fast forward a little bit, I was talking to a friend, and she had been experiencing a similar thing, and she said, I think for me, my trigger is cheese. And I remember thinking, what are you saying? I don't understand. So anyways, that was around the time when I was learning about the connection between food and health and all of that. And so the more I researched it, I was like, oh my gosh, she's probably right. So for myself, dairy is a very common offender for skin issues, really for a lot of health issues, but I thought I'll start there. And I removed all dairy from my diet, and these boils for the most part cleared up. They were way better than they were. And I was like, ooh, I think she's onto something. So I little by little kind of started adding different bits of dairy back in, and yogurt I was okay with, those types of things. And I narrowed it down to, for me, it really was just cheese, similar to her story. And it was crazy. It was like clockwork. I could have pizza in the evening at night, and in the morning I would wake up and have a huge boil starting under, you could feel it under your skin. And it was crazy. I mean, it happened like that over and over, that I was like, this really is what's going on. So I just eliminated dairy for a long time, and my skin was clearer than it had been. Now, I would still get these random boils that I was like, what is this from? And through a little more, I don't know, just paying attention, I realized that I do the same thing with chocolate. So same deal. I can eat chocolate one day, and the next day I'll wake up and have a boil somewhere, which stinks because chocolate's one of my favorite things ever, but it's not worth feeling like that and looking like that and being so self-conscious all the time. So I cut chocolate out as well. And those were my two triggers. But your triggers could be anything. I mean, dairy is very common. Chocolate is common, sweets in general, and sugar. I remember one of the worst breakouts I had was a few Halloweens ago, and the kids, they bring home all their chunky candy, and you're just sneaking it out of the pantry, at a Reese's here, a Butterfinger there, Milky Way, whatever, all these little bite size. They're bite size, so you feel like they're not that bad, but I had the worst breakout ever after that, and I was just like, I cannot do this anymore. It was embarrassing. I didn't want to, you don't even want to, you can't even go get your mail without feeling like, oh my gosh, I look you just feel so self-conscious. So I always would have to have concealer or makeup on my skin to go anywhere, just to try to hide it a little bit so it wasn't so glaringly gross. So anyways, after I eliminated those foods, for myself, because those were my triggers, things definitely got a lot better. I would say they probably cut down by 80 or 90% of what was going on, but it was frustrating when I still would get a boil here or there. So fast forward a little bit, and I don't even know how it came to this realization, but I don't remember all the steps that happened in the middle, but what I finally ended up realizing with myself is the more products I use in my skin, and I'm talking like just even a normal face wash or your moisturizer or whatever, the worse my skin is. So forever, I used to wash my face morning and night with like a sudsy cleanser. And you know, your face was kind of tight. My face was tight and dry after I use it. And then you just add on the moisturizer, whatever. Once I stopped washing my face in the morning with soap, it cleared up almost everything, almost to 100%. And it was so weird because it's not that I stopped using a product. It was just, I think just using soap on my face in the morning again was just stripping off, you know, your protective oils and everything you have on your skin to begin with. And so once I stopped that, and once I really paid attention to the food, my skin pretty much like stopped breaking out like it had. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have skin issues. You're gonna see me with pimples here and there because they do still happen, but it is not like the crazy boils that used to pop out of nowhere. So I just want to share this with you because, you know, again, going back to the mission, it's like when you know something, then you can make shifts to change it. And so if you are dealing with acne, it very well could be from a sensitivity in your diet, sensitivity to something that you're eating. And so just pay attention, you know, even if you just like write down, make a food log and see if there's patterns and know the common offenders. Like I said, dairy, chocolate, sweets, those are some pretty high up there on the list, but there's a bunch of other things it could be. So I don't know, maybe do some research and see what your trigger could be. Pay attention to your cleansers, to your moisturizers, to your makeup, to the products you're using. As a side note too, just because something is like natural or safe doesn't mean that it's not going to cause you an issue. So for me, anything I use with coconut oil in it clogs my skin 100% of the time. Now some people, products with coconut oil can clear their skin up. So it's definitely not a universal thing. You just have to find what it is you're sensitive to, what makes your, you know, what makes your skin tick. But yes, I use things with oil on my skin. Like I think there's something I'm using right now. It's got apricot oil in it and almond oil or whatever it is, but like coconut oil, I cannot use. So if you just pay a little bit more attention to the things you're putting in your body, the things you're putting on your body, even if you make a list and write it out, if you're struggling with acne, it probably is between what's going in your body and what's going on your body. You could probably solve the mystery if you pay close enough attention. If you go to a doctor, and you know, that might be what is required, and that's okay. But for me, because I feel like I grew up going in and out of dermatologists, and their only solution was ever take this antibiotic, take this pill, you know, use this drying cream, use this, you know, oh my goodness, when you look at the ingredients of what's in some of that stuff, to think about that constantly going into your bloodstream, some of that really can cause long-term issues. So I just wanted to share this in case it helps one person, you know, narrow down the mystery of what might be going on with your skin. Like I said, I know I get pimples from time to time. It happens, but it is nothing to the degree that it was. Like that crazy adult boiling cystic acne rarely happens anymore. And I know it's because of those few things that I changed. So anyways, I hope this was helpful. Feel free to share it if you think it was. And I would love for you to subscribe to my newsletter if you like getting little tips like this, just little shifts you can make every day to live a better life. You can go to noshiftrepeat.com/newsletter, and I will see you in your inbox. And I really appreciate you watching. Thank you.